Hi, friends. Our story today is called Extra Yarn. We've been learning how clothes are made, and Miss Rose shared us how she knits and crochets with yarn or string. So this book is about a little girl. If you look really carefully, you can see her hiding next to the letter T in the word extra. And she has some extra yarn. And it looks like she knitted herself a sweater. And she knitted sweaters for some creatures on the cover of the book, too. I see a dog, a bird, maybe some squirrels or a fox. I see a cat and a rabbit. They're all wearing extra sweaters too. So I'm curious what else she does with all of her extra yarn. The author's name is Marc Barnett. He wrote the words to this story. And the illustrator's name is John Klassen. He drew these beautiful illustrations. You'll notice, friends, that as we read, some pictures don't have a lot of color, but some pictures do have a lot of beautiful color. Let's start reading. Extra Yarn by Marc Barnett. I can see some yarn in the trees or the plants. This picture is not very colorful, but I'm noticing it looks like it's winter. It's winter in this book. I see some snow on the roof, and I see snow on the ground and falling in the sky. On a cold afternoon in a cold little town, where everywhere you looked was either the white of snow or the black of soot from a chimney, Annabelle found a box filled with yarn of every color. So she found the box of yarn. Let's see what happens. So she went home and knit herself a sweater. And when Annabelle was done, she had some extra yarn. Friends, look at how colorful her sweater is compared to her hat and her socks. I bet you that sweater makes her feel very happy. When she was finished, she knit her sweater for her dog Mars, too. But there was still extra yarn. Now her and her puppy match. When Annabelle and Mars went for a walk, her neighbor Nate pointed and laughed and said, "You two look ridiculous." "You're just jealous," said Annabelle. "No, I'm not," said Nate. There he is. Oh, that's not being very nice. He's laughing at her. I think her sweater looks beautiful. And she says, "You're just jealous. That's why you're laughing at me." It turned out Nate was jealous. So she knitted him and his dog a sweater. Now they match too. Look at the dog. He's pretty happy. And even after she made a sweater for Nate and his dog and for herself and her dog Mars, she still had some extra yarn. At school, Annabelle's classmates could not stop talking about her sweater. "Quiet!" shouted Mr. Norman. Uh-oh. "Quiet, everyone! Annabelle, that sweater of yours is a terrible distraction. I cannot teach with everyone turning around to look at you." "Well, I'll knit everyone a sweater," Annabelle said. "That way they don't have to turn around to look at my sweater." "That's impossible," said Mr. Norman. "You can't knit all those sweaters." Let's see if she does, friends. It turns out she could knit more sweaters, and she did. That's so nice. She made sweaters for her classmates. She even knit a sweater for her teacher, Mr. Norman. And when she was done, Annabelle still had extra yarn. So she knit sweaters for her mom and dad, and for Mr. Pendleton, and Mrs. Pendleton, and for Dr. Palmer, and even for little Louis. That's nice. She's knitting for her neighbors now. She made sweaters for everyone except Mr. Crabtree. He never wore sweaters or even pants, and he would stand in his shorts in the snow up to his knees. "No sweaters for me, thanks," said Mr. Crabtree. This is an interesting man. At least he said thank you. He doesn't like wearing sweaters. So Annabelle knit Mr. Crabtree a hat. And even then, Annabelle still had extra yarn. That was creative. He didn't want a sweater, so she's keeping his head warm. Let's see what else she does. She made sweaters for all the dogs, all the cats, and for other animals too. And soon Annabelle would run out of yarn. She made all the animals nice and warm for the winter. But it turns out she did not run out of yarn. So Annabelle made sweaters for things that didn't even need sweaters, like a mailbox or a birdhouse or even a little house. She's making the town very colorful, friends. I think this is a beautiful mailbox and a beautiful birdhouse. Wow. Look at the town, friends. If you look, this does not look like the town we saw in the beginning of the story. Which town would you prefer to live in? The town that was black and white, or this town made out of beautiful yarn? I would love to live in a town like this. Things began to change in the little town. It's becoming more colorful. News spread of this remarkable little girl who never ran out of yarn. And people came to visit her from all over the world to see the sweaters and to shake Annabelle's hand. They think she's very talented. They wanted to meet her. One day, an archduke who was very fond of clothes sailed across the sea and demanded to see Annabelle. An archduke is almost like a king or a prince, friends. He's very important where he lives, so he used his ship to sail to visit Annabelle. "Little girl," said the archduke, "I would like to buy that miraculous box of yarn, and I am willing to offer you $1 million. "No, thank you," Annabelle said, who was knitting a sweater for a pickup truck. Wait a minute. This archduke wanted to pay Annabelle a lot of money, friends, $1 million for her yarn. And what did she say? No, thank you. She didn't want the money. She wants to knit. The archduke's mustache twitched. "How about $2 million, he said. Annabelle shook her head again. "No, thanks." "How about $10 million, shouted the archduke. "Take it or leave it." "Oh, that's a lot of money, friends." She said, "I'll leave it. I won't sell my yarn." And she did not sell her yarn to the archduke. Uh-oh, I bet he was not happy. So that night, the archduke hired 3 robbers to break into Annabelle's house. They stole the box and took it to the archduke, who set off across the snow and sailed over the sea. Oh no, friends, that is not okay. The archduke, he stole her yarn box. Let's see what happens. So this is Annabelle's house. It looks like the 3 robbers used a ladder to get into the roof window of her house. That's not nice. And the archduke took his box of yarn back to his castle. The archduke put on his favorite song and sat in his best chair. Then he took out the box and he lifted the lid and he looked inside. What do you think is going to happen, friends? Think about it. What's going to happen? It's empty. Just the knitting needles. No yarn. She tricked him. Let's see what else happens. His mustache quivered. It shivered. It trembled. He's so angry. The archduke hurled the box out the window and shouted, "Little girl, I'll curse you with my family's curse. You will never be happy again." Oh no. Let's see if it works. Did the archduke's curse work? But I see the box, friends. I see the box in the ocean. It's still in the ocean. Oh my goodness, it's taken a long trip. It came back to Annabelle. And she's getting it out of the water with a stick. That's pretty awesome. She got the box back, friends. It turned out Annabelle was happy, friends. She's sitting in a tree that she covered in yarn with her puppy. Her puppy looks pretty happy too. And the animals around her were happy too. Friends, that is the end of our story. Annabelle was happy in the end of our story because she shared her knitting. She shared her love of color with her whole town, and she made others feel happy with color. Does color make you feel happy, friends? Think about the clothes that you wear, or when you color with crayons or paint. Does that make you happy to see those colors? Or when you see a beautiful flower, or when you see a beautiful picture of a beach or somewhere special? Think about the colors that make you happy. That was a beautiful story, friends. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I do. And I know color on my clothes make me feel happy too. I'll talk to you later, friends. Bye.